This train doesn't need to refuel, it doesn't need to recharge either. And yet it just traveled over 1,100 kilometers through the Australian outback without stopping. At first glance, that sounds like a perpetual motion machine, something that shouldn't exist. But the reality is a lot more interesting. It's not breaking physics, it's using it extremely well. The system is called the infinity train, and it's being developed for one very specific purpose: transporting iron ore from remote mines to the coast. The company behind it, Fortescue, currently operates a fleet of 54 diesel locomotives for this job. Their goal is to replace all of them with battery electric trains by 2030. If that works, the impact would be massive. The company estimates it could save up to 82 million liters of diesel per year. That's not just a cost reduction, it's also a significant cut in emissions, roughly over 200,000 tons of CO2 annually. But the real question is, how can a train operate without external charging or refueling? The answer lies in a concept that already exists, just pushed to an extreme: regenerative braking. This is something you'll find in electric cars and modern trains. Whenever a vehicle slows down, instead of wasting energy as heat through friction brakes, the electric motor runs in reverse. It becomes a generator and converts motion back into electrical energy, which is then stored in a battery. Normally, this just improves efficiency. But the infinity train takes it further by designing the entire system around this principle. The key is the route. The train transports iron ore from a mine located at a higher elevation down to a port. On the way down, it's fully loaded and extremely heavy, tens of thousands of tons. As it descends, gravity does most of the work, and the train continuously regenerates energy through its braking system. That energy is stored in onboard batteries. Then comes the return trip. The train travels back uphill, but now it's empty and significantly lighter. The energy stored during the descent is enough to power the entire climb back to the mine. In theory, it can complete this cycle without ever needing external charging. That's where the infinity idea comes from. Not because it creates energy out of nothing, but because it can operate in a closed loop, as long as the conditions are right. And that detail is crucial. This system only works because of a very specific combination of factors: a heavy load going downhill, a lighter return trip uphill, and a consistent elevation difference between two fixed points. Without that, the entire concept falls apart. But in mining operations, those conditions are often exactly what you have. To understand how realistic this is, it helps to look at a similar system that already exists. In Switzerland, there's an electric mining truck that operates on the same principle. It carries heavy loads downhill, regenerates energy, and then uses that energy to drive back up empty. In some cases, it even produces more energy than it consumes over a full cycle, because the gravitational potential of the load is so large. So the concept itself isn't new. What's new is applying it at the scale of a multi-kilometer freight train. And that's where things get more complicated. The infinity train is massive. The full system is expected to be around 2.8 kilometers long and capable of transporting over 30,000 tons of iron ore. For comparison, typical freight trains in Europe are often limited to around 700 to 750 meters in length. To move something that large, using only stored energy requires enormous batteries. Each locomotive in the current prototype setup is equipped with a battery capacity in the range of tens of megawatt hours. That's comparable to the energy storage of a small grid-scale battery system. And this brings us to the first major limitation. The system has been tested, but not under full real-world conditions yet. The 1,100-kilometer journey that was widely reported wasn't done with a fully loaded full-length train operating in a complete cycle. It was more of a demonstration that the battery system itself can handle long-distance operation. The real test will be continuous operation under actual mining conditions. Full loads, full length, repeated cycles, and varying environmental factors. Until that happens, the concept is promising, but not fully proven. There are also practical constraints tied directly to physics. The amount of energy the train can recover depends on the mass of the load and the height difference of the route. If the train is not fully loaded, it generates less energy on the way down. If the elevation difference is smaller, the entire system becomes less effective. In other words, this is not a universal solution for rail transport. It's a highly optimized system for a very specific use case. Another factor is battery wear. Regenerative systems rely on frequent charging and discharging cycles. While modern battery technology is quite robust, repeated cycling under high loads can still impact long-term durability. The real-world lifespan of these batteries in such extreme conditions remains to be seen. Despite these challenges, the underlying idea is solid, and it highlights something important about energy systems in general. Efficiency doesn't always come from new sources of energy. Sometimes it comes from using existing energy more intelligently. The infinity train doesn't create energy. It captures energy that would otherwise be lost and uses it in a way that matches the system's needs almost perfectly. It's not about breaking the rules, it's about designing around them. And that's why this concept is so interesting. It also raises a broader question. Where else could this principle be applied? Any system that involves predictable movement between different elevations could, in theory, benefit from this approach. Mining is the most obvious case, but similar ideas could potentially be explored in other industries, especially where heavy materials are transported regularly along fixed routes. Still, it's important to stay realistic. This is not a replacement for all trains, and it's not a general solution for transportation. It's a specialized tool, one that could be extremely effective in the right environment. And that's often how real innovation works. Not by replacing everything, but by solving one problem exceptionally well. So is the infinity train revolutionary? In a way, yes. Not because it introduces new physics, but because it applies known principles at a scale and level of optimization that hasn't been done before. But whether it becomes a widespread solution depends entirely on execution. The technology needs to prove itself under real operating conditions over long periods and at full scale. If it does, it could redefine how certain industrial transport systems are designed. If it doesn't, it will still stand as a fascinating example of how far you can go just by rethinking how energy flows through a system. Either way, one thing is clear. This isn't a perpetual motion machine. It's something much more practical. Let us know your thoughts on this one. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.